Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of this program in the newsroom. Today we want to talk more about economy, and a report is saying Nigeria may need to prepare for other times in the years ahead. This is because the federal government current revenue can barely pay its debt. We'll go into details in the course of this program on that. And you will recall that these two words, subsidy and fuel, or petrol as the case may be, have become common in recent times. When you hear about subsidy, about fuel, you also hear about subsidy. A time there was when it was said that there was nothing like subsidy, that was all corruption. But it appears as if Nigerians have come to the reality that subsidy is not corruption. And lastly, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has predicted that Nigerians will continue to call for restructuring after the new administration assumes office on the 29th of next month. So these are the issues we are taking a look at on today's edition of this program in the newsroom. You are welcome once again. My name is Abiodun Olalere, and I have with me in the newsroom Smollett Adito Isheshitola. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
You could not make it last week.
Yes.
And I passed your message across to accordingly, that you sent a message.
Thank you.
That you had to attend to another important
very important.
So how was the assignment?
Well, fine. It's just about a young girl who has to go to school. And so, you know, if you don't get her to go to school at the appropriate time, she might never get there again. Opportunity once lost, it's never. And she's growing, she's 20, so I needed to put everything. By grace of God, she will resume on the 10th. That's my joy.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We also have Papa 70 in the newsroom. Sanya Fadigo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. When people call me Papa 70, I start wondering, am I that old? There are people who are ahead of me here. You don't call me Papa.
You have grey hair.
Okay, you have grey hair.
You have grey hair. So
then you are using glasses too. Then your cap is your usual one.
Okay.
How I wish you forgo this cap one day. And let's see the grayness.
I can take it off.
Yes, that's the beauty of it.
It doesn't cost me anything.
Then you can see that those calling Papa 70.
If somebody came into the newsroom now and did not know any of us before, we first bow to you.
Hey, because people have been thinking that I'm a small boy. That's why I decided to leave the
okay, we come to that stuff. But you now admit that you are Papa 70.
Of course, I didn't doubt that.
Okay. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to getting to that age.
You go beyond
yes, but on I want to see
I want to go beyond
yes, by God's grace.
So, you see, when you are with old men, this is the kind of jokes we crack. And that is one of the traits of in the newsroom.
Yeah.
So we go straight to business now. Delamuman, Nigeria's current revenue can barely pay its debt.
Yeah.
How do you interpret that?
I interpret it into a doom, a future doom. But it has not just started. Even when Okonjo-Iweala was here, she once told us that they were borrowing to pay salaries. That's some 8-9 years back. But you see, the beauty and the joy that we have in this country is that when the challenge rises up threatening, we are a very prayerful nation and God likes us. God finds a way of settling for yes. That has been what is taking us through and through. But on a more serious note, it is a dangerous situation. But we trust God.
Okay,
It's dangerous.
Let's start from the basis now. Nigeria's debt, according to Department Debt Management Office, the DMO, is put at over 46 trillion naira.
Yeah, but from my own angle, if you go and research further, you see that that debt is not too much for Nigeria. We have not reached the limit that we are supposed to reach. Other countries too go beyond even what we are now. We are just about we are below, I think it's below 15%. And we can always go as far as about 40% or so. We have not gotten there. But the point we are talking about is the economy of Nigeria today. How it's going now, that it cannot sustain what you have borrowed. The point still remains that economy is not static. It's not static.
Okay.
Things keep changing every day. Our debt profile, as it changes, so also our economy changes. Look at the oil revenue. Sometimes it shoots up, it comes down. And sometimes when it shoots up, if you are wise enough to, if you are prudent enough to keep what you have to keep, we still balance, we still be okay. So as of now, what I'm only against is borrowing needlessly. That's what I'm against. Something that you borrow that you don't do anything that is bringing in money for you with, then that's not good borrowing. That's not good borrowing. That's the only thing I'm
according to statistics released by the DMO and an investigation carried out by a recognized organization, we pay 81 naira to service debt of every 100 naira received as revenue.
I've also heard it.
Is that good enough?
It's not good enough.
It's not good.
It's not good enough.
It's not good at all.
It's not good.
But then we are surviving it.
Yeah, it's not good. You see, why is this so good?
I'll come to you. At what expense are we surviving?
No, terrible expense. But we are still alive. You see, this country should have been a better country if we had the great managers of the economy, the great managers of industry and what have you. So that, see, if you have been living on just about 19 to 20%, that's what we are eating or living on. This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Ordinarily is very bad, but come to weigh it again. If you are paying 81% to service debt, it means that if we had our debt servicing reduced to about 40 or 50%, we would have still been a better off nation. Now, if you have good managers who come and manage situations, we can still move from there. And we reduce corruption. While we manage properly, we must also reduce corruption, and we must reduce this very, very unwholesome situation in which we spend so much on governance.
Okay.
So very much on governance.
Well, Larry Fadansi, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon.
Now, Saya, let's look at the Nigeria borrowed $3.27 billion from 5 countries: China, France, Japan, India, and Germany. And between June 2015 and September 30th, 2022, I mean, that loan was between that period. Yes, if you talk about these standard gauge rail lines, we all knew that it is from the loan secured from China. What about those of France, Japan, Germany, and all that?
I think one thing, that's what I said the other time. While I'm not really against borrowing to develop, I'm against borrowing frivolously. When you borrow money, if you have a tied project, if you have a project tied to that borrowing, it makes it better for you. Especially projects that are of economic value.
Enduring.
See, to the country. That's the only way I can see borrowing. Money that you have borrowed from France, from Germany, or from wherever we borrow it, you have to again look at the condition of that borrowing. If you look at the condition,
we learned that But China can't grant us any loan again. We have reached
the limit. The peak, yes. But why must we reach the peak before we stop? Must we reach the peak? Because China was giving us, it was available. You just keep taking it.
Okay, Larry.
It's all right.
Yes, let's look at these standard gauge train lines. The cost, we all knew that the project was a product of loan. But if you look at the cost to an average Nigerian from Lagos to Ibadan, it's about 2,000 or thereabout. Do you see this? Do you see a common man being able to afford this? Where you can easily stand by the roadside on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and get this popular sole, perhaps for 400 naira.
Yeah. Now, you see, you have to justify your borrowing. And that's what is happening about that. Don't forget that the standard gauge rail we're talking about, the ECOWAS states also attempted to do it, but they felt the template of Nigeria was a bit on the high side. This, you see, the international trade, you have reasons for comparison. And to justify the amount you quote for your project, you must also add it on the value of what you want to collect by way of revenue. So if you say you want to do business and it costs you 10 kobo to do something, when you want to start profiling your cost of revenue returns, you look at it and project cost per passenger. So that gets it on the high side. You get what I'm saying? So we should know going forward that when you go borrowing, you don't have to pad it as they used to say, because if AU, African Union, wanted to do that standard gauge from ECOWAS states to other countries in Africa, so that the rail line would be there to transport people, but they felt the cost of our own project is high.
But have they done their own at a cheaper rate?
They have gone to the same companies that are doing this in the international market and got it cheaper, about 100% higher. So at the end of the day, you will discover it will affect the cost of those who want to patronize that project. Unfortunately,
it also affects the payment.
It will affect the payment, and unfortunately, all this loan thing, it's painful. We had to pass that route, but because ordinarily, I don't think who goes at borrowing goes at sorrowing. Oftentimes, loan is not always easy to repay, especially loans that you are taking and there is no responsibility attached to it. Who will believe you if your accountant general, a nation that borrowed, was accused of taking about 100 billion? Do you want to look at such a nation and say, take my money again? It's unfortunate. There must be responsibility attached.
A while ago. Let's be specific now. Nigeria had borrowed $409 billion from China, $526 from France, 57.11 million from Japan, 27.17 million from India. We are even running to India to borrow money.
That's what beats me, Paulo. It beats me. And immediately when you were reading out the statistics, immediately you said that, and it struck me that how come India? How come India, who we are supposed to be contemporaries?
Is India not the number 2 poverty?
Yeah, but you see, in technology, India has gone far and wide. You see, it struck me, how many nations can borrow from Nigeria? We were almost at par. India became independent in 1947. The struggle for independence in Nigeria too had taken shape, was still taking shape there. So we are supposed to be contemporaries. Now, it's just like if we go to Dubai to go and borrow money, it will pay me a lot. This is a nation that came to us for assistance and things like that, and after 25, 30, 40 years, you go there and borrow. The Indian borrowing pains me a lot. It goes into my marrow, because I have been to India and I know what level of poverty. I spent 2 months in India, and I can see. And they are large population, extremely large. In those days, when I watch out at about 2 p.m. and I see students, 15, 17-year-olds, gush out of their school. And I used to ask myself, that is the country that we are borrowing money from. It's not good to be borrowing here and there, but sometimes you must look at it. But then they have developed the economy. Today in technology, India is higher up there. Americans cannot even touch them. So it's very unfortunate, but then we can start from somewhere. Okay. Corruption is what is making
we'll stick up there,
the 19% that we are using. If we took corruption out of it, we will begin to eat 3 square meals a day.
So yeah, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry is worried and raising concern. Are you as worried as the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry?
You know why I laugh? Because I can't be as worried as the Lagos Chamber of Commerce. Reason is, what they are seeing, I'm not seeing. What I'm feeling, they are not feeling. My own concern is for my own 3 square meals a day as a retiree, and to live a fairly comfortable life.
On this program, you should be concerned about Nigeria.
Yeah, I should be concerned about Nigeria. Now, there's an extent, there's a limit to which I should be concerned about Nigeria. First of all, if I'm not okay as a person, if I'm not eating well as a person, I can't think of Nigeria. That's the reality. And the Chamber of Commerce that is talking, if you want to look at Chamber of Commerce will first of all think of what's its own business. How am I thriving in my own business? That's what you can think about Nigeria. And if Nigeria is not doing well for the Chamber of Commerce, definitely the Chamber of Commerce will complain.
And
because the enabling environment should be there.
If Nigeria is not doing well to the Chambers of Commerce and Industry, I think by extension, Nigeria is not doing well to the entrepreneur. And if those people are complaining, of course it will affect those of us who are just consumers.
Yes, that's why I say the way we feel it is not the way the Chamber of Commerce will feel it. Either you like it or not, look at Okada business or Marwa business or Koroko business. If they buy fuel at about 10 naira per litre, or they buy at 100 naira per litre, the overhead will still be brought back to the consumers, to the passengers. So the passengers in the end pay. The Chamber of Commerce we are talking about now, it will not be hard because the rate at which it's producing its goods is not the normal rate that it should be producing. And the amount that which it's using, the overhead for production, goes high. And so not many people will be able to buy. And that's why they're complaining. Me, if I can't eat very well, first of all, the first thing I look at is what does food cost in the market? And I start complaining. So my own complaint could be even higher than that of the Chamber of Commerce. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But you are both worried.
But we are worried. But we are concerned from different levels.
I'm sure Alamua will also be worried because the young girl who just secured admission too.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes. Yes, you are very right. At a point in time when one should not be, should be sleeping and eating and enjoying life.
Yes.
You just have to. Yes, may not be my biological daughter, but she's my daughter. So I must take care of. So I feel the. If you go into an arena that something is costing you about 100,000 naira to put a girl in school, it becomes a little bit difficult and worrisome.
Aside corruption, because you have talked about corruption, it has also been mentioned maybe before you came in. Can you fathom any other reason why Nigeria is so indebted? Without those in government will tell you there are so many things to show for these loans. Some people will talk about the second Niger bridge, the Lagos-Ibadan expressway is almost, and I know that the federal government had also secured Sukuk loan too. That one is interesting.
Not even international loan as they are listing.
So can you fathom out any other reason why Nigerians or some Nigerians may not agree that yes, they have seen what these loans were meant for?
Honestly, I'm at a loss because by the time you are looking at the humongous, you are talking in billions of dollars. So what has actually looked like we were serious about it? What exactly looks like we are serious about this loan taking? Now, for instance, I think Dangote came up with the amount it costs to build this refinery from start to finish. And Nigeria has borrowed billions of dollars past 10, 12, 13 since 1999. Because if we add it up, those are the times they've started taking loans. But in the last span of this stretch of 8 years of this Buhari administration, it was even higher. Fine, in the past, if you say, okay, you have borrowed, what is your foreign reserve? That goes in a way to say, maybe you have tried. Obasanjo left some $40-something billion in Nigeria's foreign reserve. So when you are looking at the indebtedness of now, look at what we even have here, nothing in the reserve as well. So what are we saying we are doing? What value have we added?
But Lamuma said at least we are surviving.
No, the point is, in the Committee of Nations, you see, you want to ask for forgiveness of loan at times, and people look at you and say, oh, indeed, you are suffering. But the international community watches and they laugh. German Chancellor and a few other heads of state in Europe attended the UN summit together in a vehicle. Nigeria went with a convoy of like 17 vehicles with Buhari. And you are owing people. You see, they look at you and say, are you people okay? Yeah. Are you okay? You are indebted to people, and you are living and living large. Fronting wealth that you do not have.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. People are not realistic about it.
Can there be a limit or the maximum of loan that you can obtain?
Well,
First thing is this: the nation must look at itself. What am I doing? What am I producing? What economic development do I want? That would show you the kind of limit you put to your borrowing.
And do we have that in these instances?
No, we are a consumer nation.
I think Nigeria has it. There's a limit. There is about 40% of something.
There's a limit, and even the
we have exceeded it.
No, we have not gone there.
No, the point is we are returning wrong returns. Our returns are not realistic. Nations who want to tell you we have not exceeded it will tell you this is our foreign reserve, this is what we have done.
China has stopped giving us loans.
Sir,
China.
Before going, man, you know one thing that we have not looked at. Suddenly our customs officials are learning Mandarin now. China makes agreements. We told people, study how China gives its loan. It's recolonization. They want to come and take you over, and you will agree, you sign.
No,
you will sign to it.
Those loans were not taken directly from China. It was from some banks in China.
Banks in China? Who runs the system in China? It's the government. Government runs system in China.
No, it's a way of saying when it comes to international politics, yes. China will tell you, no, yes. It was...
you owe our bank and our bank is taking over.
Go and resolve with them.
And you see,
we have not gotten to the level where China will take over.
And take over, but we are close to it.
Gotten to it. But
they are not going to borrow us money anymore.
We must be very, very careful. But we have, don't let us say we are there. We are not yet there. But it doesn't mean we must get there. It doesn't mean we must get there.
Why I'm saying this is because we have traveled the same route some people traveled, that China took over its customs, took over its waterways, because they signed it.
We should learn from that.
So we should have, because right now, you know why we are having an issue over this now? For the Debt Management Office to be raising this issue constantly is to tell us, look, are there ways around it? Have we come proactively to say we can pay this debt? America has an issue now. America is going to nations that have not borrowed from China because they felt gradually China is taking over nations out of poverty.
They also sat too long for Africa and third world countries to be looking the direction of China. So America sat too long, and Europe they stayed too long.
In China, in China, if you are found to be corrupt, you are killed. Yes. But China will give loans to people who steal their money. But they don't mind. It's your system.
And those,
that's the way
they cannot come and kill anybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then they will tell you if they do it in my place.
It's not China that is giving us loan. They are some specialized banks.
And construction firms that will come and do real life for you.
So another headless topic. I know when the new government assumes office in another
less than 2 months,
6 weeks or thereabouts.
More than 6.
But perhaps when we look at the challenges before that new administration, we may have reason to come back to this topic and take another look. Yeah. So let's move to the second topic now. Fuel subsidy, they are going together now. So yeah.
Yes. Fuel subsidy?
Fuel, then subsidy. Yes. At a point in time, we were told that everything was fake. But finally from this present president. But when that was when he was outside on the corridor. Yeah. But when he now is in the inner room, he has discovered that fuel subsidy is not fake. And there is this attempt to remove this subsidy. It was initially said that this government would remove subsidy before its exit. But now it has been pushed to the new administration.
I think when we talk about fuel subsidy, it's a two-way affair. It's real, it's not real.
Okay.
Real in the sense that it is true that we subsidize fuel in this country. There are cost expense. That's the unreality about it. Now, people who subsidize fuel, we have had cases in this country where people don't even bring in fuel, and they claim to have brought into this country, and they claim they have already consumed, which we did not even consume at all, and they get paid for it. And if you look at that level, they were talking about corruption. Corruption is what is killing us. And we have said several times, if you don't kill corruption, corruption will kill you. And that's the fuel subsidy thing. If today corruption is removed from fuel subsidy, you don't have to remove fuel subsidy. But corruption in fuel subsidy is what is killing us today. Till today, I still believe that there are still people in the system who are gaining from this importation of fuel without even importing anything.
But that sector has been like that from the beginning, eating to some extent. You remember when late M. Kwabela was asked a question if he would remove subsidy or not, he said he can only speak on that when he knows the cost of production and so on. Now, Larry, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company PLC is saying it is paying 400 billion naira monthly on petroleum subsidy, and even the quantity of consumption is also there is controversy surrounding it.
But of course, as Nigerians, we saw the viral video of a customs officer that stopped sometimes from crossing the border. Did you see that video? He was not sent to stop him, but he said, how can we be having fuel scarcity in the country and I'm a sentry guard at the border, and I will now watch you guys go. He recorded himself that he won't allow them to ever go through. He was removed from that post. So if we are not being realistic with ourselves, we can't get out of this logjam. Hello, some people said, wait a minute, all this oil theft you are talking about, the real theft is on the IC, and they saw 14 kilometers of underground pipeline. And when a ship was found there, look, every ship that goes on the ocean has a tracking. So why not allow us follow that track and know where actually this problem is coming from? It was bombed. So it's a cartel that is difficult to break, and a lot of people in government are part of it. And they don't want us to know. Please, it is, Google it. The size of Dangote's refinery is about $15 billion from start to finish. His own estimation is higher. Nigeria is ready to quickly buy 20%. Look, we must be sincere. We cannot fund this anymore. Once somebody will be doing wedding and you see 35 aircrafts, they will go there to attend wedding. And you think those people borrowing us money will think we are a serious nation? We can't be serious doing all of that. We can't be serious. Oil theft that we are talking about is a major mafiosi business deal. Those who are doing it are the causes of all these things we are talking about. Fuel subsidy removal is fraud. The current administration said it. They came back and did it for 8 years.
They are thinking of stopping it now.
They want to go now.
They want to go now. They are not thinking of removing it. And the burden is going to be on the populace.
We must support the new government.
The
Yes, the incoming. To let us go.
But Smile, sir, there's one basic thing I discovered. Now, this administration has a moral question to answer, but maybe when they leave. Now, when Jonathan, each time past administrations, most of it PDP administration, hiked pump price of petrol, they do some cushioning effects.
Yeah, that's what
to reduce it.
That's what we need.
So that, yes, it is because of international oil politics we have to do this, but we know that as citizens, you are supposed to be beneficiaries of these oil largesse that the nation have. So your income, even in America, they do it. They say from $5, but here for 30,000 minimum wage in the last 10 years, and it has remained. And these are ripple effects of what you have. So when you are talking about it,
so-called cabal,
let's think twice.
people. Yeah. We also have average Nigerians benefiting from this smuggle.
Yeah.
Someone said if you get to this area in Ibadan, I can't recall the area now, that most of the lorries or tankers that will be loaded, they find their way through Shaki and just to and even Nigerian oil is servicing almost all the countries in West Africa, including Mali, anywhere you can see.
That's the Nigerian in them.
So most countries in West Africa are feeding on Nigerian resources.
Yes, because government has not put in place policies that will checkmate all. It is a kind of a blind eye.
Because the driver that will drive, that will take the tanker, of course, may be a rich man because of the business is doing, but it could not be as educated as those.
Yes.
So all these people and those who look at the rules and ensure that they come and forth.
Change the country.
The police, the custom, the immigration, all of them are involved.
Look at the exposition that we got when NNPC went to begin to track where this oil theft came from. Up to now, we have not gotten any serious reports.
No. They gave the contract to one private one, Tombolo, and I think I watched a documentary.
You see, they had. I mean, before Tombolo came on board, the process of the leakages.
Yes, but the oil theft had reduced. Well, I think we can now meet.
That's what we are told.
We can now meet our demand. They said that some countries are.
Government is doing its own. The individual Nigerians are doing their own.
So
all because we lack a leadership that can be decisive. That's how I see it.
Is it a problem of leadership?
No, to some extent. A government makes laws. If the scenario Larry brought about, if instead of removing that boy from that, you have commended him, we know that government is serious. Yes, I agree that if you look at it in another direction, it is indiscipline.
It's likely to be in danger.
Yeah, it could be indiscipline. They can give you so many reasons. No, they could tell you, the leader there will tell you that they didn't instruct him to do one or two. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it. Please don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's, but it's the Nigerian mentality.
Should they have gone on the internet as a uniform man to expose?
They will tell you that is wrong, and it is wrong. Yeah, it may be bringing us gain, but you see, in anything there is a hierarchy. There is something you cannot do.
You wouldn't have gone on internet.
There's something you
do that was justice in this country.
There are certain things you can. We are not saying it is wrong.
Okay.
Yes, you wouldn't have gone on internet, but you knew that even if you exposed it and told it serious, nothing will be done about it.
And since he left, has anything been done? So what we are trying to say is that we are not saying that young man was wrong, but when you come to find out in terms of hierarchical, command and obey, command structure and obey, you can find him guilty because the establishment will give you reasons why he had to go.
I think I should come to you now.
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at system non-functioning, malfunctioning of systems or institutions in Nigeria. Okay, I read a report which says that Nigerians are no longer saving in banks now. You have to keep it at so look at it, because to some extent this Naira swap was not a totally disadvantage or but Nigerians at the end of the day killed the advantages and promoted disadvantage. Why is it that systems refuse to work in this part of
now the first question I would ask you as Biodun, do we have a system at all? There's no system in this country. No system. We are not systematic.
After so many years of
we are not systematic in anything. If you want to find out the number of certain things right now, there's nothing you can go to find out. Nothing. You have no system. You have no way of checking facts. There are no facts on ground.
No institutional memory.
At all.
People deliberately remove it.
No data.
No data at all. So that's the problem we have, and that's why I say we have no institution. Until we have institution, we will not succeed. Because institution is what development is based on. If you have no institution, no data to plan with, how can we succeed? When we're talking about lack of institution, failure of institution, which failure? Institution that was never there in the first instance. How can we not talk about that, about the fact that it failed? No.
And if it is there, they allow it to fail.
Yeah, because it's not there. Now we are talking about that tanker. The line was talking about. If there were strong institutions on ground, that man would not have done what he did. That man would not have done what he did. But because he knew that even if he went ahead to report that tanker in the first instance,
other from above.
As a Nigerian, that young man will see the leadership of the customs say Nigerians are stealing our petrol across borders. And you saw them. They don't have documents to cross. And somebody would, you see, the truth of it is this. If you go into the overheads of the NNPC, they will tell you, we went to Venezuela, we went to Saudi Arabia, we went to UAE to study how they process their oil. Hello, I do not see the technology that monitors every pint of oil that comes out of this. They know. They will bring it here because they are involved. So you get the drift of it until we start telling truth to power that you cannot act ignorant of what is going on. Then we can't get the solution. We'll just be rabble-rousing. Some people will be wondering, okay, in the industry, our own share, our time has come. How do you now want to stop us?
I will encourage them.
How do you want to stop us now?
This is our own time. Encourage them.
Yeah, in vicarious matters. You mentioned
at the end of the day,
inviting somebody
to
your ceremony, and he comes in
the aircraft.
Yes.
20 aircraft.
And then you are proud to say, yes, I brought the big men. You've forgotten that all that he has spent, he took it from the nation.
economy.
It's unfortunate because there are nations in Africa.
Time was very recently when we could go to a passport office and pick your passport within 2 days. It was very bad before then.
Very, very bad before
But it came to a point that, 2 days. If you are very smart, you get it 1 day. Today,
is that why power is not also working?
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
You had it. He said if you are very smart, you can have it 1 day. That's the problem we have in Nigeria. Smart. We are all trying to be very smart about things. And then we are killing the economy. We be smart. Corruption is reaching deep into us.
Let's not put smartness in that balance alone. Some people are brash and bold. They'll go to the passport director himself and complain. I came since morning, I've submitted, I've paid. You understand? Make a scene there. They will say this one will cost trouble. Let him not do so. No, do not. Before this Nigeria is getting there. If you know you're right, prove it.
Did you have to make a scene in those days when you could take it in 2 days?
No,
you don't have to. You don't have to.
But as things are.
But we won't say it was deliberately, the passports was deliberately kept away from people.
Yeah, the man will think that way and he will be right. It may not be the truth, but that's the assumption.
Okay, another headless topic, we still have to come to and look at this issue again. We move to the third topic now, coming from our own Wale Soyinka. He's saying restructuring will continue to be an issue, even under the incoming administration.
Yes.
Larry.
That is an undying issue. And I wonder why some people don't want to talk about it. I wonder. And to a large extent, it would become an issue for the incoming administration. And I think that was why Professor Shoyinka quickly pointed that out. I watched a video clip of the assumed vice president that will come in May 29, that's restructuring my foot.
That's not correct.
It's not correct.
Don't call him assume.
No.
I got a video of him.
No,
I disagree.
we are in the newsroom.
Yes.
Don't take a position
You have
for
to-
now.
I'm not taking a position.
No, if you
I said a video.
if
I'm
you
not saying
call
I said
if
no,
you
no,
call,
no, I said
if you call an elected
okay, sir, I won't know a video when I see one.
no,
Assume that way.
Okay,
Then we should look at it because it's a newsroom issue.
No.
It was a public gathering, and so I mean, Smollett and they say I did not see what I saw.
Larry, hold on. You have a solicitor in me. You have a solicitor in me.
Assume.
As the man denied it. Who? The vice president elect, has he denied it?
Deny what?
That he said so.
He was referring to him
Assume.
as assumed.
Assume that's the word.
Was that the one that questioned? Incoming.
Oh, you said incoming.
No.
Assume.
You use a qualification, a qualifier.
Okay.
Is that the qualifier you are about?
When you finish, go and watch the tape.
Substance.
No, he's assume
issue I'm talking
When
about.
we finish, go and watch a repeat of the program.
No, I'm not.
I thought he said he used the word assume for the video.
No. He was
No.
he was using
What
as
is-
a
what is
qualifier for the
What's the meaning of that?
No need for assumption here. We have a president elect and
Yes.
vice president elect.
Yeah.
Until the
So
court says
assume-
Until the court says otherwise.
So if you had said so, I would not have interrupted.
okay.
But
You have now whittled down the issue.
the two of us couldn't have thought of it simultaneously.
No.
It was because you used a qualifier.
That qualifier is not
That qualifier is relative.
Relativity is not the issue.
No, that is not our focus.
You have not assumed that he's coming as an incoming vice president.
Assumption? No, you're not assuming.
We heard that
If the court stops him, that's a different thing.
No, I have assumed that as a given, unless proven otherwise. You are caught.
You have assumed what?
That is our incoming.
You didn't say it this way.
No, assumed incoming vice president. Until proven otherwise by anybody else.
You're saying this because you know your background. That's how you're saying.
That's what you are thinking. So now that you have not
You must not take a side.
semantics of it.
Please. You must not take a side.
No. Let's leave that.
The host
We
did
don't
not.
need to.
For a minute, he didn't get it right. He would have stopped you.
Those watching us at home understands better. We have a lot of grammarians and what have you among us. So let them take action on that. Now,
But you didn't hear him.
I did.
I know you would have stopped him.
I did.
You would have commented.
I did.
We only commented on your
yes,
behalf.
I know, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
For doing my job. Now, let's look at this. President Muhammadu Buhari signed a bill, not even one, a number of them
16.
recently, and those issues border on some of what we have been talking about restructuring. Now, state government can have their rail system within their locality. You can even generate electricity and what have you. Are those not part of what we meant by restructuring?
Yes, they are part of them, and they will continue to remember. You see, if the nation had started doing these things long time before, the clarion call for restructuring would not be. But you see, what we need more now than any time else is devolution of power. You see, the center, the Nigerian center is simply...
Is it by way of money? Maybe the allocation formula. Is that what Nigerians are
just part
of it. Everything is
because the ones coming to most states, they can't even account for it.
That's a different thing. You have to struggle to get this evolution. Why must it be that difficult for us to evolve will devolve power to the states. It is coming gradually. If states can now generate power, you can have a compact state like ours.
But there is still issue about distribution.
Well, we take a step.
Okay.
Before now, there was nothing like that. You have your own, we have rivers here. We bring in experts to come on. It's not only hydroelectricity. So not only that. But when you put a ceiling to it that the state cannot do it, then they find it difficult. So they will have to suffer the old archaic mentality of what used to be NEPA changed to PhD and whatever it is. But now a very pragmatic governor can look at it and say, okay, in the next 4 or 5 years, what can our state do? It's a gradual process. It is a question of going to the promised land gradually. Okay. So to that extent, it's okay. But we will continue to ask for...
Yes. I want you to be specific. Which area are you looking out for when you talk about this restructuring that you want the incoming administration to look into?
Yes, autonomy. It's a very important thing.
Is it local government or...
In everything. Look at the levels of governance in this country. A lot of us, right now, there are a lot of states are still depending on the federal government for allocation. Look at that allocation. That allocation is completely wrong. I think we must look at it in its entirety. And now look at who needs more money than who.
And who will claim that it doesn't need more money?
No. Tell me. Let me give you an example now. There are so many federal institutions now that are moribund. People are earning their salaries there, but they are not doing anything. In states, a lot of federal institutions are in states that are not even doing anything at all because the federal government has too much money, and there are so many other prices that are how would I put it now, that are replicated. And why must we do that? That's one. Two, if you must look at it closely, we are talking about the generation of electricity. I remember there was a time in Jos, the two states, there was a particular organization, a company that was generating electricity. And so therefore, in Jos at that time, you don't have power shortage anytime 24 hours in a day. But there was a time I was talking about some people in my community that why don't you have solar energy to power us? And that was when NEPA was in existence. And NEPA was telling me that you cannot do that.
Yeah, that's low. Yes, it was illegal.
Yes, it was illegal. So why must we be having that kind of thing?
Okay, Larry, the few that had been going to local government and state, to what extent will you say, when they come and move from this rendition account, to what extent will you say those funds were meant or have been utilized to develop or to meet the needs of the people? After all, when you look at roads in Osun State, for instance, aside the one coming from Ifetedu or a hand that passes through Ile-Ife, Osogbo, border, Kwara boundary, and what have you, and of course the one from Ilesha, all of that roads apply to the state roads and local government roads. Yeah. So let's even assume that the federal government is not touching those two roads. What about the other several roads? Local government and state. I just pick that area as an example
of what we mean. Now the funding going to local governments and the states from the federation account is one of the reasons why people kept saying, look, let's talk about restructuring.
Yeah.
Major. Because in when we were still young too, there is work and eat. When we want to play football, our local football. You see, we don't want to work, we want to eat. The cocoa house thing we learnt was from our end here in the eastern region. Let people eat. You see, you know what? Western region. You see, one thing I believe restructuring is all about is your resources, use it to your advantage, and then put something on the table.
At the center.
In the center.
Yeah. That's it.
A weak center and strengthen the so because it is stealing by trick. When you want the oil of one man to belong to all of us, and the gold of my end is now going to be my own gold. Do you get the drift? These are the things that are happening that people have seen that is leading to the call for that restructuring that we're talking about.
But
if you recall,
if that is,
let me tell you some of the points.
The appropriate word be restructuring, Alamuman.
It's part of it.
You see,
you are rearranging things to suit purpose.
Fundamentally, it has to be restructuring because we were a federation. Are we running a real federation today? So it should start from there. Let the center be very, very loose. Let the state, as it used to be, you donate to the center.
Is this state practicable?
It is. It is. I mean, federations, proper, true federalism. That's what we call it. True federalism. What we are practicing is quasi-federalism.
Or unitary system of government.
Yes, it's almost there. It is a command structure. During our military eras, it was a command. It was unitary. Whatever Babangida said became.
I think that was where we got it wrong. That's when we were having a parliamentary system of the old, things were running well.
Yeah, you go to the parliament to defend. There was no minister who was not
you were a member of parliament.
Yes, you have to be first elected.
That's the point. And so now that we are having what we are having right now, this federal system that we are having, we are not practicing federalism at all. Chibisa Kandidi was always saying when he was the governor that true federalism is what we must practice in Nigeria, and we are not practicing it.
Okay.
We must have a weak center and a strong.
I know those who are friends of this present government. We want to ask a question. I will ask you. You are better off this year 2023 than 2019. Yes or no? You too and you too. I know our viewers too will also answer.
Better off.
Yes. In terms of everything.
I am not better off.
Everything.
I am not better off.
How?
I will give you personal experience.
Few seconds.
In 15, 16 years ago, I roofed my house with 1.6 million naira. 15, 16 months ago.
Okay.
Yes.
The security that I am doing now has cost me almost 700,000.
And that shows you are a rich man.
No. Wait. You are drawing a comparison.
You still get it.
Where is the purchasing power? Where is the purchasing power?
Money.
I am doing that for almost 700. The whole house cost me 1.6 million. I'm not better off. I'm not better off.
The purchasing power. Not purchasing power.
What makes you a better person?
Let's look at what you had 5 years ago.
I sweat like this too, so I don't sleep.
No,
I have to keep on working and working. Is that good?
I don't think I'm better off now.
I'm not better off.
I'm not better off.
Okay.
I'm not better off. Because today now, what I budget for in feeding years back is not what I budget for in feeding today. What I used to eat then, I cannot eat now.
Maybe because of the two of you are old men. He's younger. He's still more active on the field.
You can guess how better off I am from my statements and positions on issues. I've been a victim.
No. You may be fighting for the masses.
Yes, because they are robbing them. I have not allowed myself to be robbed.
But you are not robbed.
I'm creative. I use my creative impetus to take care of myself. Why many people have the right? For what? By right. As a civil servant, you have the right to a qualitative life. They don't give them. So if we talk about it, their lives cannot be better off. You can't be giving somebody 30,000 when it will feed his family in a month, and still be giving him the same 30,000 when he can't feed him in a week. It's not better.
Cement.
Look at new cars.
But in spite of that, in spite of this meager
insecurity, Nigeria does not make them better off.
No, not that. It only means that when I must charge you for a service, I also charge extra.
Do you know when Fela wrote Suffering and Smiling? Some 30, 40 years back. And we are still suffering and smiling. 99 sitting, 69.
Everything has gone high. So I'll have to charge. If you want me to come and do something for you, I'll charge you a commensurate charge.
You are paying it because you have it. If you don't have the money, you won't pay the high.
Well, I stay in my domain.
That's how far we're able to go on today's section of this program in the newsroom. it is a lively scene today. I love the way you bounce on him. Remember it's your Aburo.
No, he's in the newsroom. No, he's in the newsroom. And in the newsroom, we don't take sides.
Otherwise.
Thank you. We don't take sides in the newsroom. We look at issues.
The program will be back tomorrow. My name is Abiodun Lalere. Bye-bye.